Could the Dallas Cowboys possibly have an answer to their cornerback issues by way of another likely to be pretty cheap option in the trade market? And did Brian Schottenheimer just let us know straight up he's actually the one calling the shots this offseason? Let's jump right into this and be sure to subscribe for more Cowboys content on the Reddit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we see Jack Jones, number 18 on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are working to trade cornerback Jack Jones, but if they can't work out a trade, Jones will be released on Monday. In other words, he will be released tomorrow. So we are likely to see something materialize for him either today, but if it's not, then this is another option that's going to be on the market that the Cowboys could possibly take a flyer at and look at this guy. Now, initially, I will say, like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, okay, I know this is the Raiders. This is one of their starting corners right here. And the Cowboys are badly hurting for corners. And one thing keeps sticking out to me that Brian Schottenheimer said to all of us, and that was the fact that he wanted this team to do enough in free agency to where they could go best player available in the NFL draft. To me, they still have three glaring holes on this team that is preventing them from using that strategy, and that's the cornerback position, the one-tech defensive tackle, and your secondary wide receiver. Those are the three positions that have to be addressed before the draft if you truly want to be able to draft best player available throughout the draft. And Jack Jones could potentially be an option there depending on how they decide to use him. Now, he has traditionally played on the outside for the teams that he's played with. But I don't see any reason why, if a guy like this, he could come in and compete and try to see if he's good enough to play that nickelback position, or he could play on the outside until Trevon Diggs gets back and allow Deron Bland to slide back to that nickelback position. That's really his more natural role. That's where he started out here in Dallas. That's where he really started to kind of get his sea legs under him, right? So Jack Jones could potentially be an option for the Cowboys as an outside corner. Now, here are the reasons why he probably won't be an option for the Cowboys as an outside corner. He's 5'11". I've noticed a trend, and that's the fact that they like their athletes above about 6 foot, 6'1", especially on the boundary. I've seen a lot of these guys, Kyer Elam, all these guys they've been signing have been pretty big guys, and they've either been average to above average size for their position. I feel like Jack Jones being 5'11", 170 is very, very light in the ass. I'm not sure they would want this build of a DB on the outside in Eberflus's defense. So that's the first thing that kind of gives me pause for this. The second thing is he did not have a good season this past season. All right, he allowed a 108.9 quarterback rating when he was targeted, 696 yards allowed, 9 touchdowns thrown on his head. He did intercept the ball 3 times, however, but he just did not play all that well for the Las Vegas Raiders this past season, and he was the primary starter for them, right? So he didn't have the best of seasons, and on top of that, apparently the real issue with the Jack Jones is his off-the-field issues, all right? So apparently he's had issues in college. He was dismissed from USC due to academic issues. And then in 2018, he was arrested and charged with breaking into a Panda Express restaurant, pleading guilty to a misdemeanor and serving 45 days under house arrest. Whoa. In the Patriots era, he was drafted by the Patriots in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft. He was benched for the first 2 drives of Week 9 game against the Washington Commanders for showing up late to the team hotel before the game. He was benched again for the first 2 drives of the team's next game against the Colts in Germany. Golly! I might as well stop reading. Ain't no way Shotty about to take a look at this dude. All right, y'all. Yep, this video was just strictly for me keeping the lights on, apparently, because, boy, Jack Jones is not going to be here. Let's continue reading this, though, because this is wild. In June 2023, Jack Jones was arrested at Logan Airport after 2 firearms were found in his carry-on luggage. Who is this man, John Wick? Jack Wick? He agreed to serve 1 year of probation and 48 hours of community service. Boy, it must be nice to be rich. The Patriots waived Jones in November 2023. The Las Vegas Raiders claimed Jones off of waivers. That's how he got there. Other incidents he was involved in, he was reportedly disciplined for violating Patriots curfew rules, and he was suspended by the coaching staff for fighting in practice and limited to 1 game in the COVID-shortened season. Whoo-wee. Okay. Okay, man. So, now we know Jack Jones was with the Patriots when Bill Belichick was there. So, it could have been a culture fit problem, but I'm going to say this right now, man. This man had a lot going on, and I think it'll be kind of hard to justify bringing in the Jack Jones if you're Brian Schottenheimer and you're these guys that are apparently calling the shots now for the Cowboys. Remember, Brian Schottenheimer, he actually came out in his interview the other day. He actually said, and I think this is the more important part of today's video we're going to get to. I want to talk about Shotty because, yeah, Jack Jones ain't happening, man. Not with all these damn issues my brother got going on. So we're going to talk about Shotty and the fact that Schottenheimer has said that he is responsible for a lot of the decisions being made in free agency this year.
With Steven and Jerry and Will, and we were making some decisions in free agency, and I literally had to say, well, we need to go with this guy. And he was on the defensive side of the ball. But that's what's best for the football team. And at the end of the day, what matters is putting together the best football team that we can put together and winning football games.
He came out in his interview and said the other day, and this is one of the most important things that I think a lot of people missed. Brian Schottenheimer actually came out in his interview and said that there have been times during this free agency period where he's made the ultimate call on what they're going to do in free agency as it pertains to which guy they wanted to go after or whatever it may have been. He said that he had to tell Will and Jared, those guys, like, okay, yeah, but no, this is the guy that I actually want in this clip right here. So I really like the fact that Shotty has this type of voice. I like the fact that he's already communicating the fact that he has this type of voice, that he has this kind of latitude with the organization to where he is ultimately making the call on the guys that he wants to build this roster with. With that being said, with great power comes great responsibility. Brian Schottenheimer, you let us know exactly what the deal is, so now we know exactly where to aim our angst at if things start to go wrong. But that's not the point there. The overarching point is the Joneses are actually allowing this man to build this thing out his way. They're allowing him to make the final decisions. They're not being overbearing, and we're finding that early on in this process. So it can't be a whole bunch of this civil rights movement and freedom marching and all this stuff, man. Brian Schottenheimer literally let us know himself that he does have that kind of latitude to where he can make those decisions on his behalf for his football team. And I think that's why we've been seeing them kind of make some different decisions this offseason as pertaining to others, because he is the one that's ultimately telling these guys, hey, I want this guy. I need this type of guy. I need to make this decision. We'll know instead of getting this guy, let's go ahead and go on the defensive side of the ball and get this guy. So very, very interesting piece of information right there. I think just another peel off that banana, kind of letting us know, like, hey, the Joneses are kind of pulling back a little bit. They're not being as overbearing. They're not trying to control as much. And I think this is kind of further extending off the idea that Mike McCarthy let us know last season. He said working with the Joneses was the most power he actually had at any level in the NFL. So Brian Schottenheimer is kind of echoing that sentiment. So I think at some point, we got to listen to these guys when they're telling us that, y'all, so we can't continue to just keep running with this narrative that Jerry's making all the decisions when Shotty just let us know that he's making decisions right now for his football team. And I think that's the more interesting aspect of this whole entire thing, right? But either way, appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content, and I'll see you guys on the next one, man. How about them Cowboys?
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.